earth is the Lord's and everything in it. You own the stars in every galaxy.
You know that feeling when you want to put your energy into something really meaningful, something that actually grows and helps kids in the long run?
Yeah, something lasting.
Exactly. We've been looking at some really interesting stuff about an initiative called the Multiply Connect. And, well, the whole strategy behind it to build like a real movement of generosity. Think of it as a peek behind the curtain, you know, how they're trying to create this ripple effect of good.
Right. And we have some documents that lay it all out.
We do. We've got details on their multipliers process and training strategy and the bigger picture, generous generations multiplication strategy.
So the goal here for this deep dive is what exactly?
Good question. We want to unpack what this Multiply Connect actually is, how they get people ready to be involved, and honestly, what's the benefit for someone listening who might want to make a difference.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So covering the Connect itself, becoming a multiplier, their term, this idea of alongsiding.
Yeah, that alongsiding part is interesting. And then why join and how to get involved in an upcoming event they have.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So let's start there. What is the Multiply Connect?
Right, let's dive in.
Well, basically, Multiply Connect is just the name Generous Generations uses for their trainings and their gatherings.
Okay, so it's like their event brand name.
Kind of, yeah. It's where their whole Generous Generations multiplication strategy sort of comes alive.
And that strategy isn't just about like random acts of kindness.
Not at all. They're aiming way bigger. They want to build something sustainable, an actual organic movement.
Okay.
So the idea is to empower people to become, well, multipliers of generosity. People who inspire others, who pass it on.
Creating a chain reaction.
Exactly. So the Multiply Connect is a really key piece for building that grassroots capacity. It's where the equipping happens.
Right, the engine room, like we said. Okay, so one document digs into the multipliers process and training strategy. It mentions a person of interest, a POI. Who's that?
Yeah, the POI. What's interesting is it's not necessarily someone famous or with a big title. It could really be anyone who genuinely cares about children. Maybe someone with a personal passion or, a leader of a small local group.
Like a Sunday school teacher.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or a children's ministry volunteer, even someone higher up in a denomination. It's about having that heart for kids, that connection.
Okay. And how do these POIs even find out about generous generations?
The strategy mentions a few ways. It could be word of mouth, like a referral from someone already involved.
Makes sense.
Or they might see something online, social media maybe, or through more direct outreach from the organization itself. So a mix, really.
Gotcha. So someone hears about it, feels that pull. What's the very first step for them if they're thinking, maybe I could be a multiplier?
So after that initial contact, however it happens, there's a really important step called a discovery call.
A discovery call.
Usually it's on Zoom or maybe in person. It's where Generous Generations connects one-on-one with the POI.
And what happens on that call?
They share the big picture, the vision, their core values, how they work with others. They also talk about the resources they have and the overall strategy.
So laying it all out.
Yeah. And crucially, it's also about figuring out how that specific person might fit in, how they could get involved.
Personalizing it.
Right. And after that call, the POI gets a digital starter kit. More info to look over on their own time.
A digital starter kit sounds handy, easy access.
Yeah, it's meant to be a low-pressure way to just learn more.
But it's not just about giving out info, is it? They need to make sure it's the right fit for both sides.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
a big part of it. They need to understand the POI's background, their motivation.
Like what specifically?
Things like, are they part of a Christian faith community? Do they have experience with kids? They also want to gauge their commitment level, their actual capacity, like time and energy.
Right, practicalities.
Yeah, and what their expectations are. And really importantly, are they truly willing to become a multiplier, to actively share this vision?
So it's about alignment and willingness.
Exactly. They're not looking for perfect people, just genuine folks ready to learn and, well, multiply.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, let's say the discovery call goes well. It feels like a good match. What happens next to equip this person of interest?
All right, so once they've kind of established that fit, the POI gets access to online training.
Online training, okay.
This training introduces them to something called Generosity Discipleship Experiences, GDEs.
GDEs, what are those basically?
They're like structured sessions or activities. designed to help people explore generosity, encourage it.
Practical tools.
Yes. And the training teaches them how to lead these GDEs effectively with other people.
So learning how to use the tools.
Right. Then, after they finish the online part, there's another call. A follow-up to answer questions, offer more support.
Good structure.
And this leads into what they call their multiplication pathway, which has a few stages.
Okay, what are those?
Introduction, that's about making a commitment. Then, training, getting the skills. Connection, plugging into support networks.
Yeah.
And finally, alongsiding.
Alongsiding. How does that word again? It sounds very intentional. The documents link this to how Jesus worked with his disciples, right?
They do. The strategy specifically mentions equipping and alongsiding mentoring of leaders within their own contexts.
Okay.
And while they might not explicitly say Jesus's model in those exact words, the whole principle is clearly discipleship and mentorship.
How so?
Well, think about how Jesus operated, right? He didn't just lecture. He lived alongside his disciples. He invested time, guided them through real stuff, showed them how.
Mentored them on the job, kind of?
Exactly. And empowered them to eventually lead themselves. That's the core of alongsiding. It's sustained, personal support, not just a one-off workshop.
So it's relational, ongoing guidance.
That's the key insight, I think. The emphasis is on that continuing mentorship. Real impact comes from that sustained support.
That really does clarify the depth they're aiming for. So who typically becomes a multiplier? What defines them?
The strategy paints a picture. It's someone who, first off, lives generously themselves. It's part of their lifestyle.
Walks the talk.
Right. And they're leaders. But leader here is broad, basically. If you have influence, you're a leader in their eyes.
Influence in your own circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And crucially, they buy into the vision and mission of Generous Generations. They share it. And they feel a real calling, a passion to help others grow in generosity using these GDEs.
Got it. And to help these multipliers actually do the multiplying, Generous Generations gives them toolkits.
Yes, different toolkits for different stages. It's a tiered system.
Okay, break that down for us. What's in the first one?
The first is the Gen G Starter Kit. This is really for people just dipping their toes in, maybe after that discovery call.
What's included?
Resources for that call itself, like a short vision video, why they exist, who they serve, key ideas, goals, how to get involved.
The basics.
Right. Plus, materials to lead the very first GDE session, a leader's guide for it, maybe an example of sharing a personal story.
Practical stuff.
Very practical. Tips for oral learners, too. Feedback surveys. And access to a community WhatsApp or Telegram group, plus monthly feedback sessions.
That sounds pretty comprehensive for a starter kit.
It provides a solid base, yeah.
Okay, what about someone who's like, right, I'm in, I want to start multiplying?
For them, there's the Gen G Multipliers Toolkit. This builds on the starter kit.
Or resources?
Definitely. You get the full GDE toolkit, more session outlines, planning stuff, plus video training, other online learning,
Okay.
inspiring stories of generosity, impact reports, a tracker to help them see their own multiplication efforts.
Oh, neat. A tracker.
Yeah, and ongoing support from the wider Generous Generations network. Connection is key.
Right, that connection piece again. Is there another level beyond that?
There is. For those really stepping up, maybe wanting to equip other multipliers or build partnerships, there's the Gen G Growth Kit.
Okay, what does that unlock?
More advanced training focused on developing multiplying leaders. Dedicated mentorship. That alongsiding piece again.
Deeper support.
Exactly. Connections to broader networks, leadership development resources, strategies for partnerships, tools for building movement capacity.
Wow, okay.
And ongoing coaching, strategic guidance. It's really about equipping people to lead and expand the movement, a clear progression.
That's really helpful to see that structure.
Oh.
Okay, let's shift focus to the listener. If someone's hearing this and thinking, this sounds interesting, what are the actual benefits of joining a Multiply Connect? What's in it for them?
Yeah, good question. I think what's really interesting is the potential for, well, both personal growth and making a real impact.
How so?
By joining in, you'd get a much deeper practical understanding of generosity, often rooted in faith. You become part of a community, right? People with a similar heart.
That sense of belonging.
Definitely. And crucially, you get those tangible GDE toolkits we talked about. Ready to use resources to actually do something in your own context.
Tools to make a difference right away.
Yes. And the support, the networks, the alongsiding, that's huge. It offers guidance, encouragement. You're not alone on the journey.
That mentorship sounds key.
It is. And if you look at the bigger picture principles Generous Generations uses, focusing on kingdom impact, disciple-making relationships, empowering local leaders, clear communication, a simple model you can adapt.
All those things we've touched on.
Right. They're all designed to create change that lasts. So for the listener, there's this path. You can go from being a person of interest to an active multiplier.
And maybe even beyond.
Potentially, yeah. To a mobilizer or a multiplying leader. Each step gives you more influence, a chance to broaden your impact on kids' lives.
So it's not just about individual acts, but being part of building something bigger.
That's the core idea, being part of a movement focused on long-term, truly meaningful impact for children.
That sounds incredibly valuable. So if someone listening is feeling that spark, thinking, I want to explore this, what's the immediate next step? I think you mentioned an upcoming event.
Yes, perfect timing, actually. The next Multiply Connect is coming up really soon. It's on May 6th.
May 6th. Okay.
And if you're interested, if you want to learn more, maybe take that first step, the way to register for this training is pretty straightforward.
How?
You just need to contact the Generous Generations team directly. They coordinate it through the Multipliers WhatsApp group.
Ah, okay. So reach out via the WhatsApp group for the May 6th training.
Exactly. Think of it as a direct invitation, a chance to see how you could become part of this.
Okay, great. So just to recap for everyone listening, the Multiply Connect is Generous Generations' way of training and gathering people, equipping them to multiply generosity.
Right. It's about identifying folks with a heart for kids.
Giving them training and those practical toolkits.
And then, crucially, supporting them through ongoing mentorship, that alongside.
Yeah. So by joining, you're getting tools, community support, and empowering yourself to start that ripple effect for kids.
Mm-hmm. Which really leaves you with a thought to chew on, doesn't it?
Go on.
What if that passion you already have for children, what if that could spark something much bigger? A wave of generosity reaching future generations.
That's a powerful thought.
And the Multiply Connect, well, it offers a concrete way to actually explore that potential.
Absolutely. So if that resonates, listener, don't wait. Reach out to the Gen G team on that Multipliers WhatsApp group. Get registered for the Multiply Connect on May 6th.
It's a chance to step in.
Definitely. We're excited to see the difference people like you can make.
Everything you made, you share with us. Everything's a gift of purpose.